Okay. I want to thank you all for coming to my class this evening, and specifically to hear our guest speaker, Marquise Wilson, who's graciously agreed to have a conversation with us about transgendered identity. Marquise has appeared in The Aggressives, which is a documentary that I saw. It's been showing on, I think, Logo for the past, I guess, year or so. So the way I'm going to sort of facilitate this is ask Marquise to, if you don't mind, see that question very quickly. A list of questions here, conversational pieces, in terms of sort of getting a feel for who you are. And first, I think it's just a person. If you want to just share a little bit about your background, who you are, and I guess, you know, see how it progresses into that.
Okay. So, as you all know, I'm Marquise. I'm in F-Town, which is a female to male transsexual or transgender. Sorry. My apologies. I'm from New York. I was born and raised here. I came out as a lesbian, as a butch lesbian, probably at like age 14. Always as identified as a butch. It wasn't until I was like 19 or 20 that I realized that something was just, I guess you could say, out of sync. Not necessarily just being butch. There were certain things that I would do that would probably be considered a little bit extreme as far as being butch is concerned. Binding on a daily basis, using the men's room, things like that, just the basics. But let me see, I just started my transition actually in November of 2005, so it's only been 5 months now that I'm actually on testosterone. So that's pretty much the basics. I mean, I don't know what other questions you guys have. Sure.
You said you felt like you butch, like you.
Could you introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. I thought you said something. I'm Zuleika.
Nice.
So, do you feel like being butch predicated like a transition, or was that just like what compelled you to say cross the line, like as a representation of yourself, categorizing yourself as butch? Was that what predicated like you saying that's not
Enough.
Yeah, enough.
Being butch for me personally was like the gateway. That was pretty much the door opener itself. I don't know if any of you are familiar with like an underground subculture called the ballroom scene, but it's where people compete, and the part of this competition I would compete in is called butch runs. So it's to see who is more masculine than the next person. So I think a lot of that played a really big portion, and I guess in how I live on a day-to-day basis, because I don't know, improper pronoun usage, which is frustrating me to death. I guess it's probably a portion of that, but I guess you could say, yeah, it eventually got to the point where it wasn't enough. I got to the point at age 23 where I asked myself this question, and it scared me. Am I gonna grow up as an old butch woman, butch lesbian, or am I gonna grow up as a man? And the idea for me personally, growing up as a woman, is frightening. It's very frightening. I'm not at all comfortable with being a woman. And I shouldn't necessarily say being female. Being female is very different. Being female is about your anatomy. Those are portions of you that people can't see. But being a woman, as far as your gender expression or representation, that for me, that's a very big difference. And my gender identity is definitely that of a man. So that's when I got to the point where I said, you know what, I need to do this in order for me to feel comfortable with myself and to feel comfortable just living life in general.
Did you feel like you took on a certain step of, like being a black man, I mean, taking on a certain set of prejudices and biases that other people might have? How is it first like being associating yourself as a female / woman / butch, and now being seen and understanding yourself as a black man?
It's a little bit different. The prejudices are a little bit different. I would say at age 15 or 16, I've always looked like a boy, so that's not really anything, I guess, that's that big of a deal. But for me, I compare looking like a 16-year-old boy as opposed to now going on 25 and looking like a young black man. I mean, people see me on the street, and of course, there's a certain level of, I guess, intimidation that comes along with the territory. I live in a very Caucasian place. I live in Minnesota, so culturally it is very different, and the way people respond to me there is a lot different than it is here. Obviously, I mean, people of color are everywhere in New York as opposed to Minnesota, so it's a very big difference. People automatically assume, you know, it's not even just about being a black man, but it's also, I guess, about the clothes that I wear, or maybe the way that I carry myself on the street. I mean, unless you talk to me, you really wouldn't know. But you know, I've been in situations where people will clutch their purse, or you know what I mean, like they feel a certain level of distance. So it's a difference. It's definitely a difference. Not that big of a difference, but it's noticeable. It's definitely, even for men. You know, even if a guy would see me 4 years ago, he'd think, oh, that's, you know, just some little deal. Probably wouldn't think anything of it. But now I go into the bathroom, like, you know, I see guys, they make eye contact. You know, there's a certain way they treat you, or I don't know. It is very different, though. It's a good question.